again, this is Tim of the Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. It's show enough, and it's Friday. It's Leslie Frazier Friday. You know what that means? Leslie Frazier is coming in for an interview this afternoon or this morning or whatever, but he'll be in today at MetLlfe to interview with the Maras, the Tish, and the Shane. Oh, it should be interesting. It should be fun. Shane, of course, made that big move yesterday, signing the running back off the practice squad of the Buffalo Bills, and I love it because I posted on Twitter that the Giants announced the assignment. The Giants announced the signing, and then 2 minutes later, Giant fans post, "What a steal!" Nothing's changed. Nothing's little. You hope things change over the years, over the time. You hope fans get a little smarter. You hope things just happen. There's just a certain segment they'll just never change. Makes you laugh. Makes you go, I want to talk about Leslie Frazier. Is he really, really, really the right option for the New York Giants? He's getting his second interview. He's got to be in with the running of the three. And those three, of course, are going to be Brian Flores, Brian Dable, and now Leslie Frazier. Leslie Frazier, a lot of people forget. Leslie Frazier actually was part of the 85 Bears. He was a pretty good defensive back. And he was undrafted in 81, but he was part of their team. He actually led their team in interceptions with 6. And his career got cut short after suffering an injury, or suffered a knee injury in the second quarter of the Super Bowl. That was during the punt return. That's why you always say you shouldn't return punts. Your star defensive back I'm not going to say he was a star, but he was a good defensive back, should not return punts. I mean, he screwed up his knee. I mean, it was a terrible injury. I remember the injury in 85. And they thought he could come back by the middle of the 86 season. He wasn't cleared in October in 86. The knee basically never healed. And his career was cut short, and he retired on August of 1987. He retired. He started his coaching career directly after that as the head coach of Trinity College, I think it's now Trinity International College. And, he actually built that program up a little bit. It was interesting that he got a coaching job right off the back, right out of the block. He held the position for 9 seasons. It's an NAIA, or no, what is it, an NAIA? I think it's an NAIA team sked program. It's a very small program. It's a very small program. You win the Northern Illinois Intercollegiate Conference titles. And they coached there until 97. He moved on to be the defensive back coach over at Illinois. He was at Illinois basically for a season. And then for what he did, that was in 98. He left, and in 99 he joined Andy Reid, who was then the first time head coach. Andy Reid, it was way back in the day for the Eagles. And then he was there with the Eagles from 99 to 2002. The defense got better under Frazier, but I wouldn't say he was an integral part of that. He was then the defensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals for 2003 and 2004. Again, he helped increase the takeaway totals on the team, but that's great. In his last year there, his takeaway totals ranked 36. He had 36 takeaways, which ranked 3rd in the NFL in 14. The defense improved from 28th to 19th. I mean, it is what it is. From then he moved on, and he worked for 1 season with Tony Dungy in 2005 as a defensive assistant for the Indianapolis Colts. He was specifically brought in to help him work with the Colts defensive backs. And you're seeing something here now. He's working as a consultant basically for defensive backs. Now, he's won a Super Bowl as a player. Now, he also won a Super Bowl that year with the Colts. Yeah, that was in 2007. He had won that year. He then became the defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings after Mike Tomlin was hired as the head coach over with the Steelers. In 2010, Brad Childress was refired after going, I think he was at 3-7. And then Frazier was named the interim head coach. He then took over the total coaching reins the next season, promptly went 3-13. Then he went 10-6, and then he went 5-10-1, and then he got fired. And that was in 2013. Now, are we seeing a track pattern here? Let's just keep going a little bit. Frazier was then hired as a Tampa Bay defensive coordinator on January of 2014. Then on January of 2016, 16, the Bucks announced they would not pick up the option on Frazier. Then Frazier was then hired by the Baltimore Ravens in 16 to be their their secondary coach. And then on 17, he was hired as the Buffalo Bills to be defensive coordinator. So he's been the defensive coordinator basically there for 3 years, and he was promoted to assistant head coach. While he has a long resume, his resume seems to be filled with a lot of quick stops and a lot of stops in reference to him being able to help cultivate young talent in the secondary. He was a defensive back coach. How many times now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, basically 6 times in his career, 7 times counting with the Ravens. He was a defensive backfield coach or a secondary coach. Now, yes, it's been almost 8 years since his last run in the league as a head coach, but I'm not seeing anything that's telling me, that's sticking out to me that this guy should be the third choice or maybe the second choice or even the first choice for the Giants as their head coach. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing how this guy who is 62 years old, and 62 is not old. It's not young. It's not old. I'm not 62 yet, but I'm old. But I just don't feel the heat off this name. I don't see anything. This would be, to me, in my honest opinion, this would be the safe Giant approach. This would be, we're going to play this safe. We are going to go with if we take Leslie Frazier, we are going with what you would refer to as the safest candidate, because then the Americans say, well, look at that, he had coaching experience, he's been in the league forever, he's won a Super Bowl as a player, he's won a Super Bowl as a coach, but he's really not had success outside of that one season in Minnesota as a head coach. And I'm just trying to think where people get this mindset that he's going to be this guy. He's going to be this cowbell guy that's going to come in here, ring the cowbell, and get the Giants all fired up and get this team rolling in the right direction. I just don't see it. I've said it before. He reminds me of Joe Bugle. Joe Bugle, of course, was part of the. He was part of the lineage over with the Redskins. I can say Redskins because it was the Redskins back in the day. He was the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach from 82 to, basically he was with Washington from 81 to 98, helped them win Super Bowls. He got a shot to coach the Cardinals for 3 years. He then got another shot to coach the Raiders. And then he was just a guy that was just not a good head coach. Very similar records. He had no winning seasons. His finish out his coaching record is 24-56. He is a good coordinator. He is a good offensive line coach. He is just not a good fit as a head coach. And that's not a knock against Leslie Frazier, because you know what? Some people are good at certain things and sometimes you're just not good at certain other things. Am I saying that he couldn't turn out to be the best head coach the Giants have had since Tom Coughlin? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, if you're really looking for a guy that's going to turn this franchise around, you're looking for a guy that's going to be a stalwart in the league for the next 10 years. You're looking for your Coughlin. You're looking for your Parcells. You're even looking for your Fossil. This isn't the guy. And I'm scared that if this is an ownership pick, that we're going to end up with this. And to the people that don't think that the Mara comment was troubling, a couple of weeks back, a week before they even hired a general manager, the general manager was going to have carte blanche. He's going to be able to pick his staff. He's going to be able to pick his head coach. And then after you hire a general manager, well, it's a process. We got a process here. We follow the process, and we're all involved in the decision making of the process. That should scare people. Because it's like they didn't learn anything. They haven't learned, and I get worried that Mara hasn't learned anything since 2011. They always say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's Mara. Sometimes you have to just step away. Sometimes you have to let your football guys make the decision. And I love the people that know nothing about the NFL or locker rooms or teams or how they work. Considering I worked in the league and I worked in the AFL as well. I can tell you there's plenty of owners that they will meet with head coaching candidates, but they're not going to help make the final decision. They keep their hands out of the cookie jar. But I love the people who don't have any direct knowledge of the league telling me these things. I love that. That just makes me laugh. There are owners out there that just stay away, that they're the owners. They write the checks. Yeah, you'll need to get, if it's a big free agency, yeah, you'll need to get the sign off. But a lot of owners kind of just, turn the keys over to the football guys. They liked being involved in the process, but they're not the ones that are helping make the final decision. So, I hope it's down to Dable and Flores. I've said this before. If it's my guy, I'm going Brian Flores. He's a young guy. He's a guy that doesn't take any. He'll be, like I said, it's going to be truculent with the New York media, but he's a guy that's not going to take any crap. People forget he didn't want Tua. He wanted the Duck. He wanted Herbert. How different could the Miami fortunes have been if they would have listened to Brian Flores? Just throwing that, and I think people forget that. How different could the fortunes of these two teams have been if Flores got his way? Just, I don't know. I get worried about Leslie Frazier. I'm not in the interview rooms. No one else is. And maybe he's rocking. I do hear that Brian Flores rocked his interview. I did hear that. Oh, Twitter is so stupid. Of course, we're going to have our big stream on Sunday, as always, at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe we'll have a stream on Friday. Well, today's Friday. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do a stream Friday. I don't know. If I did do a stream on Friday, it'd be a last-minute thing. But we'll definitely have a stream on Sunday like we always do, 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. We'll have our stream on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the Dahmer. Well, we might do a video this afternoon, depending on how the interview, depending if we find out Leslie Frazier rocked his interview or not. And, I know Miami's not looking to make a decision till next week, and they're still interviewing candidates. So unless the Giants unless the Giants just go ahead and sign Brian Dable now, we might not get a coaching decision until next week. I was hoping we would get one maybe on Saturday. Still a possibility. We have to kind of wait and see what happens. And again, this is Tim on Big Blue, bringing the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you could subscribe, ring the bell, you know what I mean?